Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I was lucky enough to chat with Kwame Patterson about his title role in the OWN series David Makes Man. David Makes Man's second season follows Patterson's David as an adult, a successful businessman facing an opportunity that will change him and his community forever. Season 1 was amazing, and we talk about Kwame's work taking on the role, his start on HBO's The Wire, developing his craft, and much more. It's a great interview, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, Kwame. Thanks so much for making time today.
Hey,
I really appreciate it.
hey, no problem. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I was excited to get to talk to you because David Makes Man Season 1 was a really remarkable piece of storytelling. And I got to interview the cast just as it was starting, I guess a couple of years ago now. And I would think as an actor, it's got to be a fairly rare opportunity to play a time-jumped character where you can go back and kind of watch who this character is in a previous thing. Can you talk a little bit about getting involved with the show and kind of what first connected you with the character of David?
Well, yeah, it's like you say, it's definitely rare to come into a situation like that where it's like already previously done, and then, like you say, time jump. But the benefit of that for me was that I was able to watch, season 1, over and over again. I think I watched season 1 probably the whole season about 8 times, and so it was great to be able to watch and try to find and mimic the nuances that Achille, who played younger David in season 1, and bring those same nuances over to season 2 for older David. And so that it made that transition a lot easier versus like where if I had to create, this character, there were moments that I was able to add my own things to it, but a lot of it, like I say, was just following the blueprint that was already made.
In terms of when y'all got to shoot season 2, was this completely in the bag before everything shut down, and then you just had to sit on it, or when were y'all shooting? So
I actually booked this role back in, let's see, that was at 2018. I think it was 2018, and it was supposed to be an introduction of older David and older JG. Played by Arlen Escarpeta. We were supposed to be in the very last episode of the season 1, but they decided not to introduce the older, versions yet. And then COVID happened. I mean, things started to shut down, so we wasn't sure if, I wasn't sure if they were going to still do the older versions of the characters because, things change all the time in Hollywood. They'll have a storyline. They decide, what, we're not going to do that storyline anymore. So, yeah, and then that phone call came sometime in June of 2020, and I was like, wow, we still doing this, and so that was just a blessing. That was I was excited. So, and to have opportunity to play a character, this deep was just like I said, a welcome challenge. So I was just excited.
I think the first place that I really saw you in was The Wire, and I know. Auditions are always, from what I hear from actors, just kind of you do it and you just can't think about it anymore. You might get it, you might not. But you were working at Verizon, if I remember correctly, and then got a one-day gig, and then they just loved you and picked you up. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, I mean, when I booked the part, I was excited. It was one of those things that I had seen other friends on the show before, because I had already been a fan of the show. I've been watching it. And so I see friends that have like one line or two lines, and I used to be like, oh man, that would be pretty cool to get on this show and just to, be able to tell my kids one day, like, hey, look at your pops was on this show back in the day. There was no dream of becoming an actor. It was more so like this would be something fun to do, something cool to, like I say again, show your kids, talk to people about, later on in the future. And The Wire was really good at taking real people from the streets and just putting them on the show to keep the authenticity, of Baltimore. So when I got that opportunity, I tried out and, I first off didn't think I was going to get it, but I got it. And then it was 2 lines and it was just Lieutenant Number 1. And I was excited, told everybody. I went to set, shot my one little scene. And I remember Jamie Hector, who played Marlowe, he said, they're going to bring you back. And I was like, no, I'm just here for the day. He's like, trust me, they're going to bring you back. And at that time, I didn't know what he meant, or, I was just like, okay, I don't know this guy. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm just like, so I went home, and then I get a phone call 2 weeks later, and it's like, how would you like to be a regular character on the show? And I was like, I was excited. And then they gave me a character name, which was Monk. Yeah. And, so then, I did 7 episodes in season 4. And then they brought me back for season 5, and I did all 10 episodes in season 5. And then, I moved to LA. I was like, okay, God has a bigger plan for me. So I'm about to go to LA and pursue this thing.
That's what I was just about to ask. I mean, at the end of that point, it's got to just be normalized in your head. No, this is a thing that I can do. I am doing.
Yeah. And I fell in love with it, So, because it started off, like I said, as a thing for fun, something that I thought was cool. And I fell in love with it. And yeah, I took my first acting class when I moved to LA. So when I was on The Wire, it was just all me being raw.
Well, I was thinking that, I mean, a role like David, I mean, even your other roles, Ray Donovan or Snowfall, but a role like David has got to have some emotional depth to it that I would think would be difficult to get to sometimes. Have you found any spots where you went, oh, wow, there's more to this craft than I'd realized?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely when it comes to like what you're just saying, like just tapping into, your emotions and tapping into your vulnerability. I think a lot of times, for the most part as men, a lot of times we struggle with that anyway. So whether it's in real life, whether it's in, acting, sometimes we don't want to look weak or we don't want to feel weak. And I think getting into acting helped me learn how to tap into those things and break down those walls. And then when doing David Makes Man, I had to go even deeper. So I had to break down walls and barriers that I thought were broken down. It wasn't, because I had to go places that I had never been before. Because like this character, he has so many different levels and he's dealing with so many different emotions and so much trauma. So it was just one of those things where like I had to, go places. There was times we would do scenes on set, and sometimes after the scene was over, I would still be crying, for like 2, 3, 4 minutes, and I couldn't stop crying. And it wasn't even like boohoo crying. It was like the same way we're having a regular conversation right now. Tears would just be coming out my eyes, and I would turn to the director and ask Kyle, so I can't stop crying. And he was like, brother, he was like, if you just saw what you just did, he was like, I need to take your time, But the tears, they would just keep coming out. So it was like, yes, I was tapping into some deeper places during this show that was just amazing. I mean, yeah.
I was talking to someone the other day about playing a role different than themselves, and that they were talking about playing a character that was, braver than themselves. So they were getting ready to go out to a party and were like, yeah, I can wear that. I'm not, I wear that 8 hours a day on set. I can be this braver person, and the opportunity sometimes of being an actor and getting to put on a persona that maybe teaches you something. Do you feel like you've learned anything out of that vulnerability?
Definitely. It definitely taught me and made me feel more comfortable to be vulnerable. It made me feel comfortable to talk and express my feelings a little bit more freely, and not, like I said earlier, not feel, weak or feel, less than a man, And then just understanding, like, as men, like, we don't have to have it all figured out. I think a lot of times we think we do. We're supposed to be the provider, or we're supposed to be, the breadwinner, or just like everything. And so it's like, I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And I think we just, it helped me understand that I don't need to put all that pressure on myself. It's just that I could be free, and then I could let go. And just even with the show now, talking about mental health, it's in therapy. It makes me feel comfortable to talk to somebody or go to therapy. So I don't feel, feel like I'm doing something wrong, or that the therapy isn't the right thing to do. Like, I think it's a very valid solution.
Yeah, and I know for me, part of how therapy just kind of magically helps or works when you can't figure out what you really did there that worked is just normalizing talking about stuff, or normalizing really looking at stuff and not flinching back from your problems or whatever's going on. And I would think that doing that at your day job would do the same thing. You go in there and practice being vulnerable and being open with people, even if it's people. I'm sure people pay hundreds of dollars to sit with a therapist and role play exactly what you're getting to do
right
professionally. Was it difficult when you decided to make the jump and move to LA? Was it difficult to tell folks, I'm going for this, I'm going to be an actor? Or at that point had The Wire kind of established it enough that folks were like, oh yeah, this is what you're doing?
Yeah, The Wire pretty much established it enough, and my family's super supportive, friends, everybody, so they was excited. I'd had a few family members wanted me to move to New York just so I could be a little closer, but I was like, nope, I'm going to LA. It's sunny out there. It's warm weather. I'm tired of the snow. Yeah. I'm going to LA. And so, yeah. But no, everybody was super supportive and excited for me, and still excited for me. So, yeah.
In terms of just being a fan of the show, I don't want you to obviously spoil anything for season 2 for me, but did you have any particularly favorite moments that you got to get into?
I don't know if I had any favorite moments, because it's like particular, because there's so many. But I definitely can say I had a lot of fun, working with Achilles. I had a lot of fun working with Travis, who plays Mixelaja. A lot of fun working with Alana. Alana's so talented. She would bring things out of me sometimes that, like, we'd be doing scenes that I wasn't supposed to be crying in, and she'd have me crying, because it's just her words and how, and just she was just so powerful. So, and then Arlen Escarpeta, plays my brother, younger JG, or older JG. But we had, it's very family oriented. So it was a lot of just like for us, like laughing, joking, if they showed outtakes, you would see so many little funny moments, us playing. Me and Keely would play tricks on people all the time, because we're switching, we're code switching all the time anyway. So sometimes, like, it'd be a scene where I'm supposed, because we're dressed the same, so it'd be a scene where I'm supposed to be in, and then Achilles would pop out, and vice versa, and then I'll pop out in his scene sometimes. So we just do silly stuff like that. So it was just a lot of fun. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, when I sat down to watch the first season, I came into it knowing very little about it, other than Felicia Rashad's going to be in this. We're sit down and watch it. And
I know, I'm so upset I didn't get to meet her because of COVID. Oh my God, yeah, I didn't get to meet her.
I'll be honest with you, that's the most fanboy out I think I've ever done in an interview. Keeping it together was really difficult. talking to her, just amazing. But when I watched I actually had a friend over, and I was like, man, I need to watch this for a thing, and so he ended up watching the pilot with me. We got done, and I was like, are you hooked? Because he's like, what was even the name of that, man? I'm in on that show. What channel is that on? And the set dressing, the some of the in-camera tricks, the acting, the story, all of it is just firing on all cylinders. I wasn't sure where y'all, like you said, I wasn't sure what storyline they were going to go with on season 2, especially, everything in the last year, putting timing different. I wasn't sure what a Keeley'd look like or how things time out in Hollywood.
Right.
But June 22nd, we all get to start watching season 2. Man, I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Yeah, man, I'm excited myself. So, yeah, I'm excited for everybody to see it, see what the world thinks. So far, the comments and stuff when you're looking on Twitter and Instagram, that super positive. Everybody seems super excited. There are a few people it's like, oh my God, he's grown already. But I'm like, yeah, so, some people didn't want him to grow up so fast, but,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I wasn't sure if he'd be 22 in this or older, where they'd land him or whether there'd be a time jump. I had no idea what I thought they'd do.
Right.
I can't wait to keep being surprised. Thank you so much for talking to me about it all today. I loved you in The Wire. Can't wait to see you in this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You're welcome. Thank you, man. I appreciate you taking the time to interview me.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.